Greetings, fellow Earthlings. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of And Another Thing with Dave. I want to thank all of our listeners from all over the world. Please do subscribe and share if you're not already. All right, let's get into it. We got plenty to go off the rails on today. My brother, True Dab God. The 20th anniversary, can you believe it?
Not really, man. I can't believe it, honestly. It's been 20
Where
years.
were
That's crazy.
Where were you that day? Let's break it down from the get.
The odd thing is I was like, that day I was driving this riding mower around that me and a friend had stole from this barn, and we drove it all around this field and then crashed it through the doors when these people came down this hill behind this church and saw us. We're like, hey, get out of there. So we just crashed it in there, dipped, left, and we went to this apartment complex where some of my friends had lived at the time. And ironically enough, we had to go over there to turn in this note, because we had gotten caught stealing their golf cart and broke their golf cart and ran it down this hill and ran over all their tennis nets and shit. So we had to write this long letter thing. And so we were going to turn it in, and then we looked at on the TV there when we were there at our friend's apartment and shit, and that all that was going down on the TV that day, the smoke pouring out of the building top and everything. It was insane. It was a very sobering moment. Wait, what? And at first, you don't have any idea. The very first day it happened, most people, even people who were attuned to what actually went down, had no clue. Most people had no clue that this is something that was orchestrated and planned, we took it at face value at first, just like most people do with the things they see on the media now. Even with COVID and everything else, they take it at face value.
Yeah. Yeah, as a matter of fact, it was so over the top, bigger than life, that I didn't think it was real. I thought I was watching a movie. I'm like, whoa, I've never seen
It
this.
didn't seem real. Yeah, it
I
was
literally
surreal.
thought I was watching an action adventure movie, a Die Hard 15 or something. But I'm like, I've never seen this one. Whoa, with the trade centers, huh? That's an interesting take. And I'm
Yeah,
literally
bro.
thinking I'm watching a movie, and then it just keeps going with there's no dialogue, and it would have been the boringest movie ever because it was just the newscasters were blown away and in shock, right? If you listen to reports from that day, there's so much dead air because they're just so
Yeah, nobody knew
after
how
a
to
couple,
process that.
right. So after a couple seconds, it clicked no, this isn't a movie, because if it was, there would be constant dialogue and, you know, blah, blah, blah. Hollywood embellishments and all the likes. So that's when it clicked. Yeah, I was in San Francisco, and I was at home. My ex had just gone to work. She was a teacher, and I remember calling her or texting her, one of the two, to make sure she was okay, and then just glued to the TV, just wow. But my original thought, I can't believe they did it. My original thought.
They being terrorists or they being the
The
powers
deep
that
state.
be? Yeah. So you knew already.
Oh yeah.
You
It
have
was
the
because it was.
benefit of being older than me at that time too, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was
I was still
20
naive.
something. I was 20 something at that time, maybe 30. And yeah, no, I was 30 years old, 33. And I'd also had the previous history of all my previous leaders being assassinated by the deep state. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. Now through the Freedom of Information Act, it's come out that FBI was responsible for Martin Luther King. For Fred Hampton, the CIA sat back and watched while he was assassinated, so they were basically complicit. So yeah, between the CIA and the FBI, they basically took out all the leaders of the left throughout the 60s and 70s.
Fucking insane, bro. I mean, that's just how it is, though. I mean, it's how it's been forever, and it's still that way. People don't get it still. Coalition, what up?
What up, y'all? Let's see. I had a couple points. Oh, the Young Turks. Yeah, I remember years. I think it's been yeah, it's had to have been years when I first encountered the Young Turks. I was like, who is these? They're just their personalities are just so ridiculous. I'm like, I can't even listen to the news because I don't respect y'all as people. Um, this is even before I really kind of started to wake up and like really analyze people for real. But 9/11, I think I was in sixth grade. Had to be sixth grade science class, and they came over the PA system and told me. And I came home and watched it on the news, and it was a big deal for us younger people because they interrupted all our cartoons, which wasn't as big of a deal for me because I already watched the news anyway. But I remember not having an emotional response, so I knew it was something.
So, Coalition, let me just ask one question. What did they say at school? Did they say, America is under attack? We're at war? Like, how did they announce it? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because that frames everything, right, for Deb?
Yeah, yeah.
As
What
a kid,
context did they put
especially,
it in?
right? Especially as a kid, right? Where did you go home with your tail between your legs, like, oh my God, this is World War III, or like, you know what I mean? How was it?
I wasn't even 20 yet at the time.
I wonder, like, did school kids just go chill? Because like you and I would have been like pulling pranks in the gym, right? Having an ice cream or something. Like, was it like that, or was it like lockdown type shit? I wonder.
Yeah, I had just gotten out of school, and so I was like, "Yeah, I don't know. Curious. Let's pop this bubble and see what he says."
I was so young, but at the same time, I was into all of that stuff. You know what I mean? I was a very analytical person at a very young age. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I'd seen news articles and I'd even watched, CNN when they used to host. I don't know if they still do, like the little senator Congress meetings or whatever. And like certain shit would piss me off as a little kid. But I remember sitting there like they blast us with the COVID shit 24/7. Oh, I probably should have censored my whatever. But you know what I mean? They blast us with the 19. I just I it's the same kind of thing for me. I get the same non-reactionary like what are you doing? Like what are you actually doing? Kind of vibe that I got when I was little. I don't know.
It's a good vibe to have. Right? I mean, we should always be asking why, right, True Deb?
Yeah, I would think.
I mean, if not, why aren't you asking why? Right? If you're not asking why, then why not? Um, I love that bumper sticker or T-shirt or whatever. If you're not pissed off, you're not paying attention, right? I mean, I get it. After being pissed off, you got to take a break. I got to walk away and like go smell some roses, take a walk in nature, and recharge my batteries and shit. So I get it. But but then I come back to the fight because there's always something that needs our help. You know, there's always something that's
So
not being talked about enough.
I'm changing the title.
Right on. Yeah, and so going back to the 9/11 thing, part of it, I think, is what's called cognitive dissonance, right?
Hmm.
Excuse me. And that's when the reality of something is so far from everything that you've been taught that it's just hard to come to terms with it. So you stick to what you've been taught as opposed to evidence right in front of your face. And that's a huge part of public consciousness when it comes to 9/11 because nobody wants to believe that your government would just sacrifice 3 or 4 thousand people because they want to do some shit that we don't approve of. Right? No, nobody wants to believe that. That's
Right.
horrible. But then there's the reality of like, well, and Gab, you and I both have some info on like, well, look, what are some of the proven horrible things that our government's done? One
So
of the
many.
first, right? One of the first ones that comes to my mind is the Tuskegee Experiments,
Oh
right, where
yeah.
they knowingly gave black and not and I mean airline pilots. So these were like elite airmen, and they gave them syphilis, and then instead of treating them every time they came in for quote unquote a checkup or whatever, they just observed what it's doing to them and watched them die of it after like 30 years.
Yeah,
right?
fucking absurd, right?
And that's proven. That's proven.
And they sacrificed a multitude of servicemen at Pearl Harbor to, enable us to do what we wanted to do there with our nuclear weapons and everything else, put us in the war. That was also orchestrated. At the very least, it was allowed to occur, but
At the very least, it was allowed. And there's another great documentary that I urge people to watch, The Coming War with China. And it talks about when we were doing our nuclear testing in the Pacific, we left a bunch of people on the Marshall Islands, basically, so we could see what radiation does to them. They all died of cancer. Yeah, great.
I went to a Catholic private school in St. Louis, Missouri. It was St. Louis Cathedral Basilica. There's a school behind it. Most people don't know that. But I remember they came over the comm system. They said, let's all just have a moment of silence for everybody in New York and the victims of whatever. You know what I mean? It didn't make any sense to us because we were used to them coming over the intercom system and telling us to pray. So we were already conditioned to bow our heads and shut the fuck up. So it wasn't that big of a deal, but it had never happened before that they came over the PA system to tell us to pray for other people. You know, that was new. And then we didn't realize the gravity of it until we got home and watched television, and we talked about it the next day.
I really like what he said. I really like what he said about bow and shut up. That reminds me of the Pledge of Allegiance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? What are we taught to do? Put our hand over our heart, and basically we're taught to put our country before our family, right? Like I'll leave my family, go off and die for this country. Right?
You're pledging allegiance.
I don't pledge allegiance to anybody. Like if you're cool to me, I'll be cool to you. But as soon as it stops, then there's no allegiance, right? I got loyalty. That's different, right?
Right.
You're loyal to somebody as long as they don't fuck you. But allegiance, that's just blind, right? That's just, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't know the exact definition, to be honest with you. I don't know. It's, conceptually, I agree 100% with what you're saying. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the exact definition is.
Loyalty or commitment of a subordinate to a superior or of an individual to a group or cause. Those wishing to receive citizenship must swear allegiance to the republic.
Interesting. So that spells it all out.
Yeah. Fuck that. Subordinate to a superior? Hell no. They work for us. They work for us.
Right. Yeah, that brings how fucked up it is into light. What's up, Bliss?
Yo.
Yo.
True dab God, my motherfucking brother. You already know, King.
What up, dude?
Oh, shit, I almost forgot. That's what, and another thing. That name is funny as fuck. That should have been voted best stereo name, yo. Because I think every time somebody's talking, they be like, and another thing. Especially when you as smart as Dave is and you dropping motherfucking facts. Because then you continually come into the listener's box and be like, and another thing. Or if you heard like me and you cursing a motherfucker out, you see what I'm saying? You'd be like, yo, you punk ass bitch, and another motherfucking thing. So I would have to add the motherfucking, you know what I'm saying, in there. I'd have had to add that in there.
Yeah, it's funny how often people say it, and now when I hear it, I obviously think I connected with you because it's your name and another thing. It's like it's funny how often people will say it on here and shit. Yeah. Like they'll say it.
People even say it. People even say it in a talk with me, and they don't realize they're saying it, and I'll point it out.
Right.
I love that.
Too fucking funny. Coalition, you coming up here?
Mr. Bliss, welcome. Coalition, what's up? Happy Seplev Eve. True Dab God taught me that saying. I haven't heard it before.
I made it up.
It's just.
Did you?
Yeah.
I believe that.
Seplev Eve, baby. What up, Coalition?
I just wanted to say, like, all right, so for this to be a quote unquote Christian nation, the whole Pledge of Allegiance, like I got kicked out of class plenty of times growing up because I refused to say the Pledge of Allegiance.
You too?
There are some, and it was normally history class for whatever reason. I think I know
Coalition.
why. But
you know what's Coalition? You know what's hilarious? After 5th grade, I refused. My parents were both like freedom fighters. You know, civil rights, women's rights, big time, right? And so I didn't want to be forced to do anything. And I saw some of the wrongs that at that time. What was it? We were there. We had a monopoly. There was a grape boycott because of something hideous in South America, Central and South America, that American corporations were doing. So when I was a kid, there was a grape boycott. And my family was all political, so I knew about it. So I'm like, hell no, I'm not going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. What about the farmers in Guatemala? You know, and people would just look at me like I'm crazy, you know. And so I would always get sent to the office. And I'm like, well, fuck you. I'll go sit in the office for a half hour, you know, every day. What are you going to do? Kick me out of school because I just won't do that? No, they wouldn't. So
I got kicked out of
eventually,
class for weeks, and the principals all agreed with it. They all agreed to the fact that I should have stood up. I'm like, you act like I'm pledging allegiance to you and getting offended,
right.
but I'm not standing. I will stand up, but I'm not pledging. I promise you.
But let's even speak to that. So what if you did? So what if it was pledging allegiance to them? You don't owe them anything. They're just the head administrator. They're not a Nazi, right? Why do they always cling to that little bit of power they got?
Dude, they make you start saying it at 5 years old. No kid at 5 years old knows what the fuck indivisible is, and half of the things that they're saying in there are what the actual connected meaning is. It's like such an early form of brainwashing to begin our entire career of indoctrination, and they start it when you're 5 years old.
Right. And that's a great point. Before we even know what the words are, right? Those are some of the biggest words we're saying at that time in our life, I bet.
True.
Right? And then and to have the whole school in on it, right? And that's a whole nother level, right? Because Coalition, that's wild that we experienced the exact same thing of like, oh no, hell no, you know?
Let's say you're in a gymnasium. You know what I'm saying? Let's say you're in a gymnasium as a kindergartner, all you see is 300, 400, 500 children stand up and put their hands over their arm. Like we at this point,
and all chant the same chant.
We haven't learned history. We don't know that we look like Nazis.
Talking about liberty and justice for all.
You don't know that you look like Nazis yet, but guess what? You look like a bunch of little Nazi children, don't we?
Exactly.
Anytime, or some crazy religious cult that's about to drink some Kool-Aid.
That's what it reminds me of. Who knows what kind of mystic powers behind a chant like that?
Or if you've ever been to an AA meeting. God grant me the serenity.
I haven't yet. There might be some in my future.
I was also raised Christian, so it didn't make sense to me because I was raised as Christians. You don't swear oaths because you don't put your faith in men. You don't swear an oath to a man.
True.
Don't worship an idol god, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's idolatry.
Lady B in the house. Lady B in the house.
And I mean, I still stand.
What's up, Flutter?
I used to understand how it related to doctors, but as I got older, of course, I know it's magic. It's pharmakia and the Latin roots of the word, the etymology of it, and all. Like, yeah, it's magic. Modern magic. So I'm like, well, how does that apply to doctors? You took an oath, head ass, and lawyers and courts, and when you get, like, I used to like, how is that a bad thing if you swear on the Bible? Like, why are you swearing on a Bible anyway? People, you don't have to be Christian to swear on the Bible, but they want you to. Like, that doesn't. It never made sense to me when I was younger.
And why does it?
Sense? You don't take oaths.
And why does it mean something? Because it's a certain book. Like, what if we chose like Gone with the Wind and swore on that? Does it mean the same thing? Why not?
Well, Biden swears on a not normal Bible type book.
Yeah, that's the Devil's Bible. I forget the
The
exact name.
Satanic Bible by Anton LaVey?
No, it's
It
something
was
older than that.
no, I remember it was the Codex Gigas, I believe.
It's not. Codex Gigas is enormous.
That shit was enormous, bro. It was a big ass
No,
book.
no, enormous.
The biggest
like
what?
a Codex Gigas is enormous. It's like literally you have to be a giant to hold it and open it. It takes multiple men to carry that. It's an enormous book. When you research it, you'll see.
Triple
That's
D.
initially.
What
Even
up, Triple
Google,
Deuce?
even Google said that's what it
See?
was.
No, it's not, bro. It's not. I started that rumor back in that time, actually.
What
but
up, people?
I didn't
the
hear
Codex.
that. I didn't hear that from you, but
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, Codex Gigas is a gigantic book that's way bigger than that book. That book that Biden's using is big. It's bigger than most books you'll fuck with, and it's thick, but it's not gigantic. The Codex Gigas, if you look it up, is literally gigantic.
Yeah, and the Magus is another big old book, right? It's like, I don't know, 500 pages, and it way predates a bunch, it's like, I don't know, Middle Ages type shit, full of spells. The Magus.
all those Codex. Like, I mean, I believe it. I heard it. I believe. I saw it on Google. It was literally on. It was on Google Answers. So when I looked
What
it up, it was
is?
on Google Answers. So I don't know
Well,
if
Google always lies, but
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, literally it's
Wait a minute.
three.
I'm just kidding.
Are
Is this a
you
joke?
talking to us?
Yes. What the fuck? You called me out. And now you're
It weighs literally.
You talking to me?
Coalition. The Codex Gigas is 3 feet tall and weighs 165 pounds.
Who was
The
reading?
biggest Gigas. Oh,
I'm not spending my life reading a book. I
Not
promise.
spending your life reading what?
A book when he can read
a
1,000.
singular book. I'm not
Right. Well, that book would have taken decades for the one person that wrote it to actually write. So there's like a story behind it that said he wrote it in like one night, and the devil came and helped him write it. It's called the Devil's Bible, and it's been researched with the penmanship. It matches one person, so that entire book was literally penned by one person, and it's printed on skin.
Is it human skin?
Well, they say it's not human skin, but it could very well be, of course.
Ooh, is it a bunch of little pages like baby backs?
No, they're enormous pages, dude. They're like 2 feet by 3 feet per page.
That'd be a full on grown adult man's skin.
Right.
Back. Focusing on that. It puts the lotion on its skin.
It's pretty interesting if you look at some of the pages of that book, and if you read like the lore of that book. But there's all kinds of crazy old codexes of different kinds.
Oh yeah.
The Devil's Bible.
I never dug too deeply.
Yeah, the Devil's Bible.
Who wrote it?
Well, supposedly one monk did, and he had to do it by a certain time. So he was like, sentenced to write this book or something, because he broke his vows as a monk. So he was like walled up to write this book, and so because it was an impossible task, he ended up having to ask for help from a fallen angel, Lucifer, to help him finish the book in exchange for his soul.
That's heavy.
Oh, I know.
Wow, I wonder what the punishment would have been. Because if you're willing to give up your soul in order to accomplish the task, like, what are you afraid of?
Right. I would never make a pact with the devil.
Like, because you think the punishment for not completing the task would be much harsher if you're willing to sell your soul just to do it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, devil in the
You can sell that?
Your soul?
Yeah, mine's not for sale.
You probably can. Yeah, I don't think yours is
I
probably worth
sold
much,
mine
but
when I was
some of
25.
us could.
It's worth nothing to anybody else.
Oh shit, Damon and Lady B in the comments. Pop it.
Grand evening to all the ladies and gentlemen on the panel. Grand evening to you, Mr. True Dab. How are you? Mr. Another
Hey.
Thing. Grand evening to you, Mr. Coalition. Grand evening to you. And also grand evening to you, Miss Raw once again. Just quietly sitting off in the corner listening in to the topic of discussion at hand inside this A&N chamber. And if I am compelled to speak at any given point, you will definitely hear from me. Also, Miss Raw, Mr. True Dab, check your emails, because I CC'd everyone on this. These are some very interesting posts that I came across in my social media feed regarding 9/11, and there's some interesting connections, and there's even a map that actually spells it out. Again, this could be some additional information to help you connect the dots surrounding this event. And it's very interesting because tomorrow is the eve of it, but I just wanted to bring that to your attention also.
Oh, yeah,
Excellent.
today's the eve.
It's the
Seplev
eve
Eve.
right now,
So,
which is
true
why we're
that.
doing this show. And Lady Bomber, thank you so much. What am I
Now that
chopped
Lady
liver?
B's
I
here,
want that email.
I'm gonna go sit at Lady B's table.
My Instagram is attached to I want that email. I want the info. Triple Deuce, you're not going anywhere.
I just did 6 hours like back to back. I'm like, my back hurts.
Oh,
Give me 10 minutes, girl. Oh, love you.
Trap dog.
Love you anyway.
Yeah, tomorrow's the 20th anniversary.
Right. This is the eve right now.
This is the eve, yeah. That's why it's the title is Seplev Eve, September 11th Eve. I see the email you got me. Yeah. I can't wait to look through that actually.
You got to send that to me, Dab, if there's something good in there.
I'll send it right now. Actually, what's your email address?
My email is my name and another thing with Dave at Gmail.
Mine's TrueDabGod@gmail.
Oh, that's good. I can't believe most people didn't think their shit through like that, right? Like most people don't have their shit consistent.
Right.
I got to give you props for that.
Well, it's like my 14th email address. You know what I mean?
Yo,
I sent it from. I forwarded it from Lady Bomber to you.
Always
Lady
think
B.
through my name. My primary. What do you say, bro?
Oh, my bad. I just wanted to ask Lady B a question real quick. Lady B, what was the name of the book that Joe Biden, or which version of the Bible, or what the fuck was it that Joe Biden swore in on? What was that big ass book that he swears in on? If you know, since she probably knows. But what were you saying, Coalition?
What's your preferred pronoun?
That's how boring this man was. That he got swore in. And the only thing that people noticed was that he was using a different Bible.
Right?
No, but what were you saying?
Oh, no, I was just talking about names. Yeah, I always think through my names. My email is my actual name. And then 101.
Yeah, mine used to be.
And then like I teach people what I know. So my name 101. Like introduction to what I know. I introduce people to knowledge.
Love that.
Yeah, that makes sense. My other email is everyone'struedaddy@gmail.com.
Get over here. Get on Daddy's knee.
As long as you thought it through. You thought it through.
I did, of course.
I just have so many emails because I've had a bunch of different businesses and shit. Right? But yeah, so for all my creative stuff, I do it under this one and another thing, Dave.
Yeah, everything online, all the platforms, unified. All right, Damon.
Wow, the Codex Gigas. I know, that's impressive.
Gigas.
It is an impressive book. It's fucking scary.
I made it safely down the slide. I'm gonna go find Lady B's table, and I'm just gonna sit off in the corner of Lady B, listening to you guys. I'm not going anywhere, Dave. I'm just gonna be taken back. Got some things to take care of, but definitely you guys are in my ear.
Hey,
you
know, we got a trick trampoline as well. So don't go too far. Don't stray.
Correct. Much love to the R, to the R, to the 2, to the 2, to the 2.
What up, legends? Yeah, Lady B, if you know what that book was that Joe Biden sworn in on, please share it with me.
I want to know about the stuff you guys didn't think through. That's the fun stuff. Come on.
Almost everything.
What's up, guys? How are you, Dave? What's up, True Dad God? What's up, Coalition? It's your boy, Legends.
What up, bro?
My shit says Legends everywhere. It's a funny story about my name, though, is my name come from Larry Bird, obviously. People don't know that, but it's all good. What's going on this weekend, guys? Anything good? Hope you guys are well. Peace, love, and prosperity. It's your boy, Legends.
Washington in the house with the Larry Bird reference right there, huh? Come on, Celtics. Know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
Where did I
What
park?
up?
Where did I
What up,
park the
Legends?
car? True Dad. Where did I park the car?
I think you parked it in Boston.
Okay.
Well, what they said that because the Bible was so huge, it was dated back to 1884 that it was a Masonic Luciferian Bible
yeah.
from
That's what I thought.
1884.
It was
And so
Masonic.
something about it being in his family. Now, again,
Yeah.
I don't know how, I can't confirm it per se, so I don't want to sit up here and actually talk shit that I don't know. But
Yeah.
apparently this was in his family. I'm going to have to do
Yeah, I
some
remember
digging
that
and
now.
some research surrounding this particular Bible. But it's very clear that was exactly what, because that thing is not a small Bible. That sucker's pretty
No.
big.
Hell
But
yeah.
like, it's not big to where you can't carry it, but it's definitely one of those, like, even there's a picture of Jill Biden actually holding it. She has to hold it with both hands because it's pretty heavy. But I'm gonna do some digging about that.
Motherfucker looks like it weighs 20-something pounds or something.
Yeah, I noticed mentions of it.
I'm
as
sorry,
far
you
as
go
it
ahead.
being, as far as it being, like a family heirloom, his
Mm-hmm.
royal heritage and all of that, like, yeah, all of
Yeah.
that stuff. Because it was the day after he got initiated into that whole, presidency. Yeah, that's when I looked it up, and it was on Google, and I went I only used it for that reference. Probably went about 5 pages deep into Google trying to figure it out. And then later, when somebody asked me about it, I tried to find the information, but it was redacted. It was entirely scrubbed off Google. I couldn't find anything related to it.
That's what they do.
Yeah, what I wanted to say is that I forgot. All right.
You're cutting out, Dave.
No?
Yeah, you're cutting out.
How's that?
I'm not sure what's going on, to be honest with you.
It's like background noise, and you sound distant. It's like static.
Yep.
Real. But still?
Yeah.
Okay, let me swap out a cord.
Coalition,
Yes, sir.
check your DM real quick on IG. Look at that picture. Look at that picture of the Codas Gigas. Look how fucking huge that thing is compared to even Biden's book. I'm gonna pop this one real quick.
You got a small pee-pee, don't you? Huh? You got a small pee-pee?
Wait, I thought children weren't allowed on this app. I'm confused.
I haven't heard the sound in a while. How did you make it through?
I don't know, but I'm gonna go ahead and report them for being underage.
Oh,
It's always weird when someone with the smallest PP in the world tells you you have a small PP. Like, wait, it's like, what?
Why are you so obsessed with phalluses at your age, bro? Get off the internet. Get off
Right.
the internet. Or stop hanging out with your uncles.
Yeah, whichever uncle that is, probably ain't the right uncle to be around.
The wrong one.
Mm-hmm.
Friendly advice.
Did you see that photo?
Yeah, I see it. I think I've seen this before.
Oh, probably. I mean, it's world famous, but I mean, still at the same time, a lot of people don't know about it. But look how fucking huge that thing is.
I probably just didn't remember the name.
165-pound book, bro.
Yeah, no, that would definitely that was not it for sure.
Right.
All
But
right.
that thing is huge and literally
How's that?
written on flesh.
Yeah, that's
Like, what
better,
the
bro.
hell, bro? Yeah, we can hear you.
That sucks. I must have a bad cord because I was going through my mic setup I'm in my little vocal booth with my mic setup and everything, and
Mm-hmm.
so it must be a bad USB cord. So now I just got my those iPod headphone type things
Yeah, they're working like a champ.
plugged into the phone. Those are always a good backup for anybody listening or anybody that does podcasts. Like a good backup to have. Always have two pairs of these things.
Just
Or
the
it's act
regular old Apple earbud things.
Yeah, but with the depending on whatever plug-in you got, I have the 3.5 millimeter or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but those are the best sound quality that you can get out the box. If you're not going to have a microphone. Just an FYI for people. I'm hearing wind somewhere. Is somebody outside?
Yeah, that would be me.
It's Coalition.
True Dab, you sound quiet as a
Church
as
mouse.
a as a satanic church mouse waiting to pounce.
Do I still sound quiet?
No, I mean, no, you sound fantastic. I mean, like there's no
Okay.
noise, like your mic sounds good.
Oh, I'm in the studio.
Yeah, well, can you describe your space to us and for people listening? Like, cuz take note, people, he sounds good, right?
He's in a
I'm just
soundproof
sitting.
room.
I'm literally in an empty room right now where I have to get my desk up here next weekend and everything else, set it all up. But, dude, have you ever seen the front of that book and how ornate it is?
I don't believe so. Now that I'm thinking about it, because that specific page with the demon on it looks
Yeah.
very, 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 very familiar.
Send it to me. I haven't seen it. But
Oh,
Coalition
yeah.
and True Dab, what I wanted to say is it can't be unless Biden is like a 33-degree Mason, the books have to stay in the Masonic library. Like I want to be a Mason, right? And as soon as I become a Mason, then I can't talk to you guys anymore about Masonic shit. Otherwise,
You're excommunicated, yeah.
yeah,
Off
you're
with his
killed.
head.
Yeah,
You're dead.
it may be some sort of Masonic version, but it's something that's literally probably, even as they say, passed down for generations in his
What it
fucked up ass
probably is,
corrupt family.
yeah, it's probably his lizard history, right?
Could easily be. Oh yeah, check your DMs, Dave.
The lizard book, right?
Oh, like a bloodline lineage. I mean,
Right.
they could probably fit a nice, depending on how you structured it, you could probably fit a nice amount of genealogy.
Oh my goodness.
No, the books,
Wow.
the books, the books. Yeah, you see how
It's
big it is?
beautiful. It's
No, the
beautiful
books.
though. And the cover looks like almost looks like a Ouija board. Like the Ouija board was designed after that cover, right?
Right. Because that's the 13th century creation, this book.
Wait a minute. And that's a human turning the pages? It's that big?
Yeah,
It's
dude. It's
made
like
of
3
some sort of,
feet tall.
it's made of some sort of skin that they never identified. They never
And
told
it's
us what skin it was. They just
and
said
it's
it was
meant
made
to
of some.
last thousands of years. Oh, it's human skin, dude. Come on.
Definitely human skin, but it says like goat or sheep or something like that. I can't remember.
Oh, yeah. Sure it does. Of course it does. They have to, right? But come on. Come on. It's made by the richest people in the world way back then, for the richest people in the world way back then. You think that's
What?
fucking sheep or goat skin? Come on.
Medieval society would not
I
do
don't.
anything that sick.
You don't think so? You think that's
Of
sick,
course they would.
Coalition?
He's
I
being
think it's just
sarcastic. He's practicing his
following.
humor.
Yeah, because I think it's following through with alchemy. That's the word I was looking for. Alchemy is like, right? Like when we tried to define what alchemy is, we came up with the word magic, right? And we spelled it wrong with a C. It's spelled with a K if you
True.
practice it. But but I digress. But You guys just made me think of the Bohemian Club and the Bohemian Grove for some reason. What was it that you just said?
Who?
Coalition. You,
Who? Bars. I said who? Bohemian Grove. Who? Who?
Bars.
oh
Yeah.
shit! And then you go with the owl stuff. Whoo, whoo. Oh, that was hilarious. So I worked there, right? So not only did I work at the Bohemian Club in San Francisco, I was the security guard at the Bohemian Club. So sometimes I would open the joint and sometimes I would close the joint, right? So I had keys. I would be the first person in sometimes and the last person out other times, right? And it was way better to be the first person in because that place was haunted and it was creepy as hell, dude. It went 6 floors beneath the street level, right? So 3 floors beneath the street level is this huge, like, Phantom of the Opera theater, and with like 600-person theater, right? Big old, you know, it's just like mind blowing. And there's these air shafts that connect all the different rooms, and in those air shafts, dude, something was following me, and then I tried to follow it, and I couldn't, and like it was creeper. And then
That
one night, check this out, and let me just give me 30 seconds. One night,
yeah, my bad, bro.
across the street was this like hooker hotel, like a super cheap hotel. This one night, the medical examiner van pulls up. You know, it's never good when they pull up, and they're out there all night, just double parked with the hazard lights on. Next day in the paper, I read that like this hooker got chopped up into a bunch of pieces and was there for like a week until she stunk really bad.
Yeah.
There's only 2 pictures in that entire book, the Codex Gigas. It's that page you saw with the picture of the devil facing a picture of the city of heaven. It's 310 pages currently. It used to be 320, so 10 pages were removed at some point. We don't know what. It's supposedly made out of 100. I know. I'm curious. There's an entire Bible in there, and then 5 other long texts. It's supposedly made out of 160 animal skins, most of them donkeys, allegedly.
Yeah, right. It's just what they are is they're trying to explain it's a really, really big piece of skin, but we know what it is. It puts the lotion on its skin. Right. Come on, we saw that movie.
If you can jab 7.7 billion people, I think we should be able to, you know what I mean, have a digital online copy of this
There
book.
are, but it's written in Latin entirely. There are versions of it online for us to look at, just like the Emerald Tablets, as a matter of fact. But there are 2 magic spells in the manuscript too, and they're both having to do with instructions specifically given on how to identify and catch a thief.
Do you have them?
They're in the book. I could
shit,
get
they
them
don't.
for you.
They don't quote them.
Right?
Not in this particular resource I'm looking at.
Because that would be some powerful shit if we could recite a spell, an ancient spell, like live
I wouldn't
online.
even fuck with that.
Oh, I would be all in. Kidding me?
Me
Open
either.
Let's
Well, I
open
mean,
something.
I can see, and you know what I'm saying? They are thieves and they they're thieves and they're liars, so it's not in their interests, obviously. If that were the case, it's not in their interest.
I remember where I was going with my Bohemian Club story. I worked up at the Bohemian Grove, right? And you guys have all heard like the, whatever, quote unquote, myths about what they do up there, right?
I haven't heard all of them, but I know that they all met pillars of industry and
the heads of industry, the heads
once
of
it was
government.
ousted, they had to pick new places, of course.
And well, not really. They still go there. It's actually protected airspace. So if you were to fly over the Bohemian Grove, your plane, you'll just be shot down, no questions asked, and then they'll figure it out later. But the plans for the atom bomb were actually finalized there at the camp. And I didn't know any of this when I worked there, but I worked there for 2 months at the Grove itself. And if anybody's seen Alex Jones, Alex Jones gets a bad rap now as a total tinfoil hat, right? But he did break some stories.
Mm-hmm.
He did. And one thing he did was he snuck into the Bohemian Grove. And a lot of people say maybe he was let in, maybe he's part of the establishment, whatever it is. The footage, excuse me, he did this video on YouTube, and he shows him sneaking into the Bohemian Grove and watching the cremation of care ceremony. And what he shows in that video, I can vouch for. I saw the same damn thing with my own damn eyes. So I can vouch for that. That is absolutely what went down. They had what looked like the Grim Reaper in a pole boat go across a shallow lake with what looked like a baby wrapped in a sheet. They say it's an effigy, but what is an effigy? It's just something that's meant to be something else, right? So these are the richest people in the world. They're not going to use like a fake baby. So, 30,000 kids a year disappear in California. That was one of them. So they're pole boating this baby across the lake to the altar, which is like an Aztec sacrificial altar, waist height, about 6 feet long, about 3 feet, 2.5 feet wide, with a huge 30-foot stone owl behind it. On the left are 3 guys in black robes, and on the right are 3 guys in red robes, and then a guy in a white robe goes over to the baby and lights it with a torch, and it goes up in flames like it was soaked in gasoline.
That's about what I recall, minus the coloration. It was grainy.
And then everybody starts partying for the whole week. That's like the celebration that sets off the party.
Yeah, that would be the layman's or the common man's equivalent of everybody, let's toast and take a shot before we all get fucked up.
Right. Yeah. So the 1% are off there going, yeah, let's toast and kill a peasant, and then let's party.
Basically.
Right. And then they probably go drink adrenochrome at midnight.
Gross.
That's
I
sad.
didn't mean to get all extra on you guys.
No,
I forgive you.
It's all good. There's still a lot of people who don't know, what I'm saying, a lot of this stuff.
So what did you want to break down about 9/11 on Wednesday's show, Dave, that we didn't have an opportunity to?
One of the things I wanted to talk about was the financial aspects, like what went away that day, right?
All the records that were burned in Building 7, you talking about?
Oh, Building 7. Also, in both of the towers, in the offices that were hit, do you know Corbett Report on YouTube? Yeah. Corbett Report did a great special on this called 9/11, Follow the Money, the Missing Trillions. And,
you're the one who hit me to that, actually.
And it's brilliant. And there's, I think, what is it, Jessica or something McClintock, but there's 2 financial giants, right? And they all were doing scandalous shit, and those are exactly where the planes hit, that exact office. Like, wow. And
was one of them Enron?
No, Enron was in Building 7. So all the records for the Enron investigation, which would have indicted Dick Cheney, right? It would have gone right back to the White House, right?
Everyone's favorite Dick.
Yeah, exactly. Well, or least favorite Dick. Like, he gives Dick a bad name. Like, even if you like Dick,
gives Dick a bad
name. Right? Dick gives Dick a bad name. But yeah, no, after the records for the Enron investigation were in Building 7, dude.
I know, it's fucking crazy. What'd you say, Coalition?
What the fuck am I looking at in the sky?
Probably an alien.
No.
Oh yeah, those are just chemtrails. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It's just chemtrails.
It's just geoengineering. Don't worry.
Microscopic particles of aluminum. They're killing us slowly, killing us softly.
I see that as well, but I don't know. Because it's the sunset. I don't know. I don't know what that is, but I see the
If the
chemtrails.
sun's setting early, it's probably just one of those Bill Gates sponsored programs to block out the sun. No big deal.
Okay, do you guys know about Bill Gates is now the biggest owner of farmland in the U.S.? Are
He
you
has
into
been
that?
for months. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, for a
Like
long time.
3 or 4 months.
But
Yep.
like that's fucking crazy, right? Because what's he doing? He's a big
It's
fan of
absurd.
GMOs, so he's not gonna
Oh, yeah.
he's not gonna start a
He
bunch of
owned a
organic
huge
farms.
chunk of Monsanto before they
Right,
got sold off to Bayer. He
right.
also is the largest private investor in all the fake meat companies, Beyond Meat, Impossible Burger.
And
He also
I hate that we can't play clips on stereo. Stereo, you got to fix that because I should be able to play this 30-second clip from a TED talk that he did where he says,
Rantcast plays clips all the time on here, bro.
where he says like, but he says this, and you can find it. Bill Gates on TED Talk, and he's talking about population, and he's like, if we get
If
the
we do a
equation
good
right,
job on
You do a good
vaccines,
job
we
on
can limit
thank
the
you.
world's population.
Thank you.
Right.
If we do a
He's
good job with GMOs and vaccines, we can get the population growth down to 0. Now, you tell me how that works if vaccines
How's that
actually
realistically, we
healthy?
need
save
to get
people's lives.
one of these variables down to near 0. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, you guys
That's,
both saw it. So you tell me how that makes sense unless he's talking about culling the herd, right?
Right.
and the
That would be the only
audience
thing
just
that makes
started
sense.
busting out in laughter. The whole audience, as soon as he said we need to get this number down near close to 0, everybody just started laughing. Because I
And
actually
they're
watched
like,
that TED talk.
and
I
they're
Me
think the
like,
too.
day
oh
it
hell,
came out. I'm
right?
like,
And
why
they're
the
like,
fuck
oh
are you
hell yeah,
laughing?
they're clapping because they're like, oh hell yeah, we got to get rid of those poor people, right?
Right.
Let's clap it up because they're all on a golf course, right? Let's be real. Who's at that TED talk? People who
the
worship
elite.
Bill Gates and paid like fucking football ticket prices to go see him. I bet, right?
Yeah, you couldn't let me around Bill Gates. He's not making it up.
Oh hell no, dude. You know what? Have you guys ever seen him get pied in the face? You can see it on YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. He got it twice, and now it's a felony to hit a rich motherfucker in the face with a pie.
The Bill Gates law.
It's the Bill Gates law.
That's
You got
silly.
gated.
Right. Gatesgate.
And then in a bunch of states, then you wouldn't be able to vote because now you got a felony. So, oh snap, gotcha.
I mean, how often did they expect this man to get hit in the face?
Well, now it's
Well,
for any rich person, not
I
just
think
Billy G.
I think if they didn't pass that law, they knew it was going to happen to him like every week because he's such a douche, right? Come on, Dab, you and me would be in line, right?
Well, I don't want to waste a good pie.
Oh, no, I'll buy you one, dude. I would buy you a cream pie. You
Well,
kidding
buy
me?
me two. We'll use one on Billy, and then
All right.
we'll enjoy the other.
You know what I would have done to add a little spice to it? I would have gotten a homeless person to skeet on that pie first.
Why does it have to be a homeless person?
Just because that would be that much better to have some homeless skeet all up on Bill Gates' face, and he might get a little bit in the mouth.
Gross, man.
Right?
Gross.
Gotcha.
Right.
Just
I mean, that's kind of
Just saying.
See, probably just think it's a pie at first, and then try to lick it off.
Yeah, and then he'd be
then,
like,
wow,
"Ooh,
there's
it's kind of
homeless skeet on
salty."
that. Is that salted caramel?
And then he'd be like, "Oh, wait, it's that familiar taste that I don't talk to Melinda about." Huh?
Oh wow.
Okay.
Hell no.
Did they get divorced?
Yeah, and you know why they got divorced? Thank you for the lead-in. Oh, bro.
Same
you know why
reason
they
Jeff Bezos and his girl got divorced a year and a half prior?
because of Epstein. Because Bill Gates would not stop hanging around Epstein even after he was prosecuted and found guilty in Florida.
Just like your boy Prince Andrew.
Yeah, I always like to call him Prince Albert just because it sounds better.
He actually has a Prince Albert.
Does
He
he?
did an interview with somebody about that, didn't he? Like
Prince Andrew's got an Albert?
What'd you say, Coalition?
he did it in. Bill Gates did an interview with somebody about that, didn't he?
Andrew did.
they asked him about that whole the marriage thing. They were like, we don't mean to get into your personal business,
But you
or
have a nail through your dick.
but you have been known to hang around. You know, they did it in a very like, you
Do
know,
you hang Christmas ornaments on your penis?
Yeah, I
they
would
did
have
it
to
in a
say.
particular way, and in comparison with Epstein, and you know he changed his body part. You know, body language is a motherfucker. These elites
It's
Body
at
language.
18,
Body
they don't know
language
any.
is 70% of lying. Yep.
They don't know anything about body posture because they I don't know, they lack social skills.
Oh,
Clearly.
totally. That's like Bill Clinton saying, I did not have sexual relations with that woman while he's nodding yes. He's saying no while he's nodding yes. Like, I totally did that shit.
And every single time that Bill or Melinda talk about something going really bad with the pandemic or anything else and a lot of lives being lost, they smirk.
They're smiling.
Every fucking
They're
time.
smiling, bro. Like, it's
Right.
working. It's working.
Yeah. Like it's fucking funny and they're fucking clever.
Look how many peasants are dying. Right? It's fucking sick.
It is, man.
So you guys have heard about the Bill Gates, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and their vaccines in Kenya, Africa, right?
The ones that sterilize huge segments of the population.
Well, just the women.
Yeah.
Well,
just the women. Yeah,
I didn't know it was just the
make
women.
babies.
I thought it was women and children, but I guess
well, exactly. So,
female children.
Female children. Exactly. They don't even trip on the men because, well, guess what? Oh, you don't have a womb, so they just make the
like
womb.
5G does, actually.
Dude, so how brutal is that, right? So for a whole country, and it got to the point. I read this awesome article. It got to the point where Kenyan girls, you know, the rumor was traveling. So they would, when they heard the vaccine clinic was coming to their school, they'd jump out the windows and run home like, fuck that, I'm out.
Right. Smart.
So, well, smart, but when do you like start taking them out? Like, right, like the right wing is really good. Like I started this off with, the right wing has assassinated every leader I ever had. The left wing has no assassins. What's up with that?
They contract.
You mean to tell me, well, yeah, the left doesn't pay as good as what you're saying?
They left. They're not gonna do any kind of dirty work. You know what I mean? They'll contract it. In my opinion, they're not gonna actually physically go out there and do much of anything.
So do you mean to tell me? Do you mean to tell me that there? You mean to tell me that there's not one single ex-Marine that's like pissed off about like, God damn it, I thought I was going to preserve democracy, not like restore oil profit or something. You mean to tell me there's not one of those guys that's like pissed off enough to like get a couple buddies and take care of some shit?
In its modern day form, I don't believe so because that's not the topic of discussion. That's not their talking point.
Well, they wouldn't be talking about it anyway, right? They'd just be doing it, but they're not doing it, and that's what puzzles me because the right does it all day long, and we just sit there and we go, "Oh my God, let's all sing Kumbaya, let's have a campfire, let's fucking roast some s'mores and talk about how horrible it was, but let's not fight back."
You do a good ass Mountain Leanne impression.
Yeah.
You sound like Mountain Leanne when you did that.
Let's all just turn on NPR and do nothing.
The whole left.
My Lord.
It's always come off.
Oh Lord.
Oh my God. What'd you say, Coalition?
Sorry.
That side has always come off to me as like a victim mentality, either a victim mentality or it's passive aggressive to the point of getting you to, you know, break your, I don't know, just make you feel bad and just go along with the flow because you're outnumbered. That's social.
That's how they do everything. You got to do your part with the vaccines.
There's no there, right? Like eventually you would get tired of getting punched in the mouth and you would punch back, right? Eventually.
But you would think.
You would think. Like, yeah. Any sane human would do that, right? Like eventually, like even if I'm a pacifist, right? But You smack me once, I'll be like, a motherfucker, right? Then you smack me again, I'm going to think about it. You smack me again, I'm probably going to fight you to the death. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was really funny. Do it again.
What up, Genki?
All right, thanks for tuning into another episode and another thing with Dave. Please follow, subscribe, and share. I'm on all social media and another thing with Dave. And keep seeking the truth.